Ted, remember our excursions for the Mardi Gras parade that happened on the island? You started off with Peggy Mahone, and then I stepped in, and then we started doing the parades all the time. I'll never forget your "Arr, every here comes the next float," and you'd be talking about it. And then there were so many different times that I can recall. But we were just sitting talking about this a couple weeks ago when you and I met. And we were talking about when we first met, which is back in the 90s. And then I remember your interview to come here to be our executive director. And it's been the proudest moment of my life to have known you before that, when you were with Abbott and then Resort Quest, etc., that whole thing. And then your start here and what you have done with this chamber in that time frame. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for being a friend and for leading this chamber to where it's at today. Thank you.
Oh my goodness. What do I say? 20 years with Ted. How much fun has it been? I think the most memorable thing and the most impactful thing that I have been involved with you over these many, many years has been One Hopeful Place, along with lots of other people, but Kathy Houchins and you and I and several others getting it started. Wonderful, wonderful things, and you're still continuing to make it even better and improving our community. Thank you for 20 years and look forward to being your friend for 20 more.
Good morning, I'm Mark Hamrick. I had the honor of being chair of the board in 2013. Ted, I want to say congratulations on 20 years of the chamber. I can't believe it's been that long. They asked me to say a little story, but we had so many things we did in 2013. There's literally hundreds of them. We got to know each other very well in 2013. Of course, our flagship project was the Brooks Bridge. And I'll never forget when FDOT came in here to the chamber and showed us their vision of the bridge, and well, we freaked out to say the least. So they wanted to completely tear up downtown from the bridge all the way to the chamber building. So we had to set them straight, which was a lot of fun. But anyway, we had so much fun that year. I appreciate your leadership, and I hope you continue with the chamber for many, many, many more to come. You're the best. I appreciate you, Ted. Thank you.
Good morning, Greater Fort Walton Beach Area Chamber of Commerce, the most influential organization in all the Florida Panhandle. Today is a special day, a day of great importance, a day for us to celebrate and rejoice for many years yet to come. We will, for the first time in the record history of the Greater Fort Walton Beach Area Chamber of Commerce, be giving out a brand new award this morning. Hence, it must go to someone who's very special. Someone within our own organization has won it this very first year. Someone who is indeed a great contributor to our community. We needed to find someone who could tell everyone how great they always are. Someone who could sound like a radio commercial every time he talked about one of our sponsors. We needed someone who could get us to give him gifts so that he could turn around and give them away as though they were his very own. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Our very own Ted Corcoran, President and CEO of the Greater Fort Walton Beach Area Chamber of Commerce, is the winner of the very first most prestigious LA Award. That's right, Ted. You've been laid.
Congratulations, Ted, on 20 years at the Chamber. My favorite moment of you is just your kind-hearted effort. You always think of everybody but yourself. You provided me an opportunity with my father-in-law to visit the 100th birthday party celebration of Lieutenant Colonel Dick Cole with the Doolittle Raiders. It was a wonderful experience, and I thank you enough and hope you have many more years to come at the Chamber. Congratulations.
Good morning, Fred.
No, it's Ted.
Ted. Okay, Ted Cashin. Good morning.
No, it's Corcoran.
Corcoran. Okay, to whomever's getting this award today, I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for what you've done for our community, the town I was born in. I honestly believe, without a doubt, there'd be no Brooks Bridge construction, No, one hopeful place which houses 70 men and 15 women, and certainly not a half-cent sales tax that help our local governments and our schools fund the projects that are so needed. I don't know what your next idea is, but I know it'll be successful. Congratulations, Ted.
It's been my privilege to work with Ted over the past 15 years. Years of working on the homeless situation, years of working on the Brooks Bridge replacement, and the support for the half-cent school tax. But through it all, I could always count on Ted to know all the good concert venues, secure us the best seats in the house, and he'd always have a playlist. Rock on, Ted.
Good morning, Fort Walton Beach Chamber of Commerce. Happy Friday. This is Matt Turpin, 2019 Chair of the Board for the Chamber of Commerce and longtime board member. Ted, congratulations on your 20 years of work at the Chamber of Commerce as the president. You have done great things for our community and for the Chamber. I was asked to tell a funny story about Ted, and I first met Ted when I first moved here in 2010. He encouraged me to get involved, as he does with many of those that he meets. And so I did, and thoroughly enjoyed my time in the leadership of the board. Funny story, we all like to see Ted get a little uncomfortable. He's always fully prepared for almost every situation. A few years ago, Ted had asked if I would have one of the guests of honor that will remain unnamed into town and hosting at my house with a couple other guys and Ted to have dinner, and this particular guest was fond of bourbon, so we could try a couple bourbons. And so this guest and Ted came over and cooked all day, had lots of food. The guest sampled his first bourbon and then refused to eat anything else, but continued to consume more than enough bourbon. So Ted got to be his babysitter for the night and for the next day. And one of those things where you would have had to be here to fully experience the comedy of errors. But seeing Ted a little unprepared, which is very expected in this situation, but seeing him unprepared and also be a babysitter for a guest of honor, we still laugh about it today. A whole lot better than crying about it like we did during the time. But Ted handled it very professionally, but you could tell on the inside that he was squirming. But thank you for allowing me to participate in this. Ted, congratulations on 20 years, and we look forward to another 20 years. Have a good day.
So how cool is this? To coin a phrase that Ted uses all the time, that I get to say, congratulations, Ted, on 20 years with the Fort Walton Beach Chamber. Now, many of you may not understand what a prolific connector of people that Ted is. And you may also not know that he is a collector of Sports Illustrated covers. And you also may not know what an incredible and thoughtful gift giver that Ted is. So let me tell you a story about my time as the chair. So it was back in 2020. I was finishing up my year, and I get a phone call on a Thursday afternoon, and I get lots of calls from Ted. Hey, I need to meet with you, talk with you. But he called me and he seemed really serious, and he said, hey, Vince, I need to meet with you tomorrow morning around 9:30ish. Do you have time? And I said, well, Ted, I was supposed to go to the Crestview Chamber, but I'll get somebody to go in my place. So anyways, the next day I get into the office, I'm checking email. And as I'm checking email about 9:15ish, in walks into my office Notre Dame great and Hall of Famer Joe Theismann and Ted Corcoran. And I'm just like flabbergasted. And so Ted introduces me and we start talking, and then Ted says, well, I brought Joe over here for you to hang out with for a little while. He's getting his car repaired. And so Joe and I spent the next 2 hours talking about, his NFL career, how he came to the decision to go to Notre Dame. And it was just an incredible experience. But while I'm there, Joe gets a call from Daniel Schneider, who is the owner of the Washington Redskins at the time. And so I get up and I say, hey, Mr. Theismann, I'll leave you for a few minutes and, give you some privacy. He says, no, you can sit down. I'm just going to talk to Daniel for a few minutes. So I sit there and they are sitting there and they are talking about, the renaming of the Washington Redskins. And Joe explains how he feels like that what they should do is let some of the Native American Indian tribes decide what the name of the new Washington Redskins should be. And so, it's just totally surrealistic, as I'm sitting there. And so they get off the telephone and Joe and I are talking a little bit more. And then he says, hey, Ted got this for you. And it's basically a Sports Illustrated cover, and Joe has taken it and signed it for me. And so it was about that time that I needed to take Joe over to get his vehicle, and Ted, not realizing what an incredible connector he was, had actually connected him with Step One Automotive. And so I ended up taking Joe over to Step One Automotive to pick up his Cadillac Escalade, and we said our goodbyes, and it was probably one of the most thoughtful and incredible gifts that I've ever received from anybody. And that's the kind of guy that Ted is. Ted, you are a gem to the community, and I hope we have you for another 20 years because you are a connector of people and you are an awesome speaker. And congratulations again on 20 years with the Chamber.
20 years. Wow. That's half my life, Never did I imagine back in March of 2008 when we met for the very first time all the adventures we'd go on, from tourism development to sales tax initiatives and everything in between. Lots of laughs, lots of getting shit done, and lots of support in making our community better. Thank you so much for everything that you've done for Okaloosa County, and thank you for everything you've done to support me and my career.
Yeah. Hey, Ted, I just want to say congratulations on 20 years and your retirement. I think
he's not retiring.
Is that retiring?
I don't think so.
Oh. Anyways, all kidding aside, congratulations, Ted. Awesome 20-year run. The impact that you've made on the community, on this chamber, and quite frankly, on me and my business. I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. Congratulations, and keep it rolling.
So when I think of my most memorable moment with Ted, it has to be the first time that I met him. I was down at the chamber and he was giving me the whole spiel about the chamber, the dog and pony show. And then he said, hey, come with me. I want to show you something. And we got up and went next door to go take a look at the Gulf View Hotel. He gave me the tour. He told me about the Al Capone room, all the great history that had happened there. I thought, wow, this is amazing, the history that Fort Walton Beach has. And then he leans in real close and he says, okay, so here's the plan. We're going to pick this house up off its foundation. We're going to put it on a dolly and move it down Highway 98. And that's when I stopped and I said, okay, Ted Corcoran is crazy because you can barely get a car down Highway 98, let alone a house that you pick up off its foundation. But a year later, here I am sitting there watching that house move down Highway 98. And I think that sums up Ted perfectly. He is like a dog with a bone. He is like a bull in a china shop. When he gets an idea in his head, he sees it through to the end, and nothing and no one can stop him or dissuade him from getting that done. So congratulations, Ted, on 20 years as part of the chamber and serving this community. We certainly appreciate everything that you do for us.
Ted, I just wanted to say thank you for your 20 years of service to this great chamber, but also for Okaloosa County as a whole. Your impact has been immense, and we're just extremely grateful for everything you've done.
Michelle, great seeing you here at the
I
gym.
know, Vince, Pumpkins Meyer.
Yeah.
How are you? I haven't seen you in a while. You still hanging out at the chamber?
Well, now I got a lot more time now that I'm not the chair, so I can work out a little more often.
Yeah, but Ted still works you to death, doesn't he?
Well, he's always calling me all the time, 24/7. Hey, Vince, can you meet with me about this or that? How about you?
He calls me for free legal advice.
Free legal advice? Yeah, he calls me when he wants me to sponsor ballot initiatives or programs.
He tells me, though, all the time, he always says he's getting fired, but he
Fired?
doesn't.
Well, you know, Ted does earn a firing all the time, right?
But why?
Well, could it be that he's so bombastic every time?
Maybe because his jokes are so awful?
They are awful, aren't they?
Maybe it's because his fashion choices are so poor?
Well, they are poor, and could it be that he tries to embarrass county commissioners in meetings and stuff like that by calling them out when they don't want to be?
I guess there's a whole lot of reasons.
Yeah, man, who the hell hired that guy?
I did.
What? Oh my gosh, Michelle.
20 years ago.
20 years ago?
Yeah.
Well, I guess if you hired him, you can fire him, can't you?
You know, Vince, I have to live with this the rest of my life that I hired Ted Corcoran.
Yeah, that is a terrible thing to have to live with for the rest of your life.
The law says, I guess, if you hired him, you can fire him.
Yeah, I guess you can.
So, Ted, you're fired.
Congratulations on 20 years, Ted. There we go.
How you doing, man? How you doing?